Given the choice, many of us would happily swap our regular, mundane lives for that of a rich and famous celebrity. The radical increase in available finances alone would be enough to entice us. That is until we remember that even the richest of the rich sometimes manage to lose it all. Welcome back to Next Gen Top 10, where we give you a countdown of almost anything you can think of. From the best travel destinations to the weirdest America's Got Talent acts, your entertainment is what we want. Before we begin the countdown of top 10 celebrities who went from rich to poor, make sure to like and subscribe to Next Gen Top 10 and hit the bell to get notifications of our latest videos. Let's begin. Number 10. Nicolas Cage. In his 90s heyday, in which he won an Oscar and starred in such major box office attractions such as The Rock and Con Air, Nicolas Cage was commanding $20 million per movie. Such was his regular fee, Cage at his peak was worth an estimated $150 million. But by 2009, he had blown it all away. How did Cage manage to lose $150 million? He spent it in a lavish spending spree involving real estate and obscure historical treasures, of course, as well as the expected items such as supercars, jewelry, and a private jet. Cage is known to have spent big on such oddities such as a dinosaur skull, a collection of shrunken pygmy heads, and a couple of castles, one in Germany, one in the UK. Cage's collection once also included a pyramid tombstone in a New Orleans cemetery, as well as a number of pets that included a shark, a crocodile, and a cobra. Number 9. Brendan Fraser. You might not see him around much these days unless you happen to catch him on television in supporting roles and guest spots. But once upon a time, Brendan Fraser was a bona fide A-lister. After taking lead roles in the surprisingly successful George of the Jungle and The Mummy, Fraser briefly became a Hollywood sensation. At his height, Fraser was making as much as $12 million per movie. Unfortunately, however, this wouldn't last. After one too many action roles left Fraser's one muscular body damaged, and after a #MeToo movement involving Hollywood power player Philip Burke left the actor depressed and ostracized, Fraser's career went into a nosedive. Following his divorce from Afton Smith in 2007, reports suggest that the majority of Fraser's income now goes to paying child support. In 2013, he petitioned the court to reduce his annual alimony payment of $900,000. Number 8. Kim Basinger. Basinger had a successful modeling and acting career back in the day, starring in Batman and, more recently, 50 Shades Darker. In 1989, the star decided to buy her own town, as you do. She was expected to turn the settlement into a tourist attraction, but things didn't quite go to plan. Instead, she declared bankruptcy just 4 years later and was forced to sell the property. Her financial difficulties were not helped when she was sued by producers for pulling out an oral agreement to star in a controversial movie, Boxing Helena. After initially being forced to pay $8.1 million to the film company, this was reduced to a settlement of $3.8 million after she successfully appealed against the decision. Number 7. Wesley Snipes. Back in the early 90s, Wesley Snipes was one of the biggest Hollywood actors. His roles in New Jack City, White Man Can't Jump, Passenger 57, Demolition Man, and Blade made him one of the best paid and most popular stars around. However, sadly, it turns out that he's another celebrity who forgot to pay the man. Snipes was actually sentenced to 3 years in prison for failing to file his U.S. federal income tax returns, beginning his sentence in 2010 in McKean County, Pennsylvania, and being released in 2013. This wasn't the first time Snipes was evasive over his financial income, and he was involved in a similar scandal back in 2006. Outrageously, Snipes even tried to dodge this rather large bullet by filing an appeal against his sentence, which was subsequently denied. Number 6. Gary Coleman. Star of the popular 70s and 80s sitcom Different Strokes, Gary Coleman was 18 years old when the show ended, but unfortunately his congenital kidney condition meant he appeared much younger, causing difficulties in him finding roles once he became an adult. This meant that Coleman struggled financially later in life. And in 1989, he successfully sued his parents and business advisor over misappropriation of his assets. Part of Coleman's financial struggles also stemmed from paying his own medical bills, and he ended up resorting to some rather unusual tactics in order to make some bucks. In 1999, Coleman set up an online action entitled Save Me, on which he flogged his couch, a tiny pimp suit, and matching gold Nikes. Alright, how'd you guys feel about our list so far? Let us know in the comments. If you're surprised now, wait till you find out who made it to top 1. We're halfway through our countdown, but before we reveal our top 5, make sure to like and subscribe to Next Gen Top 10 and hit that bell while you're at it. Number 5. Lindsey Lohan. Despite predictions that she would go on to bigger and better things after starring in Mean Girls, a life of partying and addiction meant that Lindsey Lohan quickly fell from grace. Despite not owning the millions that others on this list did, Lohan's lifestyle did finally catch up with her in 2012 when she was forced to file for bankruptcy. As of 2018, Lohan's net worth was valued at just $800,000. That's quite a fall from grace for this former billionaire. Lohan resorted to finding other sources of income and had the super original idea of releasing an album, which sounds exactly how you would expect it to. Unfortunately, the album was a flop, with Lohan's outdated, cheesy pop tunes not quite taking the music industry by storm. Number 4. Mike Tyson. He may be one of the greatest boxers of all time, earning the WBC heavyweight champion title just 4 months after his 20th birthday. But Mike Tyson is about as good with money as he is at leaving people's ears intact. It has been estimated that Tyson earned around $400 million during his boxing career, but his lavish spending on jewelry, mansions, cars, limousines, mobile phones, parties, clothing, motorbikes, and even Siberian tigers meant that he ended up $27 million in debt when he filed for bankruptcy in 2003. Tyson's struggles weren't helped by his substance abuse issues, and his habit apparently made quite a dent in his finances. Luckily, after a few stints in rehab and the support of his family, Tyson was able to turn his life back around and made it out of that hellhole. His role in the Hangover movie series ensured his career was firmly back on track, and Tyson vowed not to splurge it all at once this time. Number 3. In 2015, 50 Cent's fortune amassed to a sizable $155 million, making him one of hip-hop's wealthiest stars. However, just a year later, it was revealed that 50 Cent was sinking in a massive $32.5 million in debt, leaving him bankrupt. His financial struggles weren't helped by the rapper being forced to pay $5 million after he released an explicit tape online, tarnishing his reputation in the process. After selling his mansion for $2.9 million, it seemed 50 Cent's financial affairs were back in order. Despite this, the star still regularly makes some rather ambiguous references to his funds on Instagram, posting a picture of a dead man with a caption, "Yeah, what he said, but no mouth to mouth, punk. If you die, you're dead. Moving to ya next of kin." Number 2. Pamela Anderson. Despite a lifestyle that included lavish houses, expensive partying, and multiple plastic surgeries, Pamela Anderson was managing to keep her finances on track, at least until the taxman came calling. Yes, things weren't quite so rosy after the Internal Revenue Service noticed that Anderson had been failing to pay her taxes. But to her credit, she has since managed to settle things and climb back out of debt. Back in the day, Anderson was worth a pretty impressive $35 million and was one of Hollywood's biggest pinup treasures. However, after losing all her hard-earned dosh, this all-American beauty star ended up living in a trailer park. Despite being left to raise her 2 kids in the confines of a trailer, Anderson was optimistic about her situation, saying it's a special community. Number 1. A true rags to riches story, or riches to rags story, depending on how you see it. Rodman enjoyed a highly successful basketball career and amassed a fortune of $29 million from contract earnings alone. He also became a high-profile celebrity, ranking in further millions in TV appearances and talk shows. After a relaxing retirement spent acquiring private helicopters, a 74-foot speedboat, and hosting lavish beach parties at his Newport Beach home, Rodman faced his downfall. Owing $285,000 in taxes and $219 in child support, Rodman ended up completely broke and millions in debts. The stress took its toll on the star, and he ended up with a serious drinking problem that only added to his predicament. However, Rodman recently revealed that he has once offered $20,000 to impregnate Madonna. We bet he's kicking himself now. So, the next time you feel like you don't have enough money, spare a thought for these poor little famous people who ended up with absolutely nothing. Did we miss someone? Let us know in the comments, because we might just create a part 2 video. Please make sure to like and subscribe to Next Gen Top 10 and hit the notification bell to get more Top 10 videos. Thank you so much for watching, and until our next Top 10 video.